claim by Omoyele Sowore about the Bola Tinubu administration conspiring with the judiciary to sentence Nnamdi Kanu to either life imprisonment or even worse, death, is definitely making waves. This has sparked an intense debate in the public, especially when it comes to the way legal processes are being handled in Nigeria. Sowore's statement is hard to ignore. He's a well-known figure in Nigerian activism and media, the founder of Sahara Reporters, and a political figure himself. His claims don't come out of nowhere. He's saying that the Nigerian government is pushing the judiciary into making a decision that, according to him, seems predetermined, and that the whole trial of Nnamdi Kanu is just a formality. The serious accusation is that the court, already controlled by the government, will go as far as to sentence Nnamdi Kanu to death or a life sentence. We're talking about a man who has been at the center of one of the most high-profile, politically charged cases in Nigeria. Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has been in the eye of the storm for years now. The Tinubu administration has long been accused of suppressing dissent, and now this latest claim by Sowore makes people wonder if the government is really so desperate to keep Kanu in jail that they're willing to use the courts as a weapon against him. The question on everyone's mind is, what is the real purpose of this trial? Is it truly about justice, or is it an attempt to silence a political opponent once and for all? You see, Kanu was detained several years ago and charged with treason and terrorism. Since then, his case has gained international attention. Human rights groups have raised flags over his treatment, and his supporters argue that the charges against him are politically motivated. Over the course of his detention, there have been claims that the Nigerian government ignored international court rulings that ordered his release. This has made Kanu a symbol of resistance, not just in Nigeria, but for people around the world who see the case as an example of government overreach. Sowore's claim goes deeper. He says the trial is a sham, a show trial meant to satisfy political interests and set a dangerous precedent for the future. If the government can manipulate the judiciary to sentence a person without a fair trial, then what does that mean for the rest of us? What does it mean for freedom of speech, for political opposition, for the idea of justice? Sowore is putting the spotlight on the judiciary, saying that if the court is indeed in on this, then the entire system is corrupt, and the consequences for Nigeria could be catastrophic. He's warning that this could be a pivotal moment for the country. If they go ahead and sentence Kanu to death, it will show that the government can easily crush any opposition. There's also the fact that this case is not just about Kanu. It's about the bigger picture, how the government treats dissent, how it handles political opponents, and what message it sends to its citizens. If Kanu's case is ignored or mishandled, it could embolden other oppressive actions, not just in Nigeria, but across the region. The rest of the world is watching closely. Nigeria is a key player on the African continent, and how it handles this case could set the tone for the future of democracy and human rights in the country. The stakes are high. Now, let's talk about the legal aspects. This trial has been going on for years, and as the final decision approaches, people are asking, is it fair? Should Kanu have been released by now, especially with the court orders and international pressure? His legal team argues that he's been unfairly treated and that the charges against him don't hold up in the eyes of the law. Kanu himself has refused to open his defense, stating that he's not guilty of the crimes he's been accused of and that the court system is biased and politically motivated. This puts him in a difficult position because the court is now considering that his refusal to open his defense could be interpreted as an admission of guilt. That's where things get tricky. People are looking at this and wondering, is the judicial system in Nigeria really independent, or is it under the control of the ruling government? Is the court being pressured to make a decision that aligns with political interests rather than justice? Sowore's claim suggests that this is exactly what's happening, that the judiciary is being used as a tool to suppress Kanu and others like him who oppose the government. For those of you who might not be familiar with the broader context, Kanu is not just any political figure. He's a leader of a movement that's calling for the secession of the southeastern region of Nigeria. The Biafra movement, which has its roots in the 1960s civil war, has been a thorn in the side of successive Nigerian governments. The fight for Biafra has sparked protests, violence, and intense political divisions. The government has called Kanu and IPOB terrorists, but his supporters see him as a freedom fighter. They believe that the Southeast, which has faced political marginalization for decades, deserves to have its own voice and its own future. But Kanu's case is not isolated. It's a reflection of how Nigerian politics works and how the government views its critics. The question is, can the government silence those who speak out? Can they use the courts to put people in prison or even take their lives without consequences? This is why Sowore's claim is so important. It's not just about Kanu, it's about the future of Nigeria. If the government can silence a figure like Kanu, what does that mean for the average person who might not have the resources to fight back? At the same time, there's the question of what happens next. If Sowore's allegations are true and the government is indeed plotting to sentence Kanu to death, what does that mean for the future of Nigerian democracy? We are talking about the potential for widespread protests, civil unrest, and even international sanctions. The Nigerian government has already faced criticism from the international community for its treatment of activists and opposition figures. If Kanu is sentenced to death or life imprisonment under these circumstances, it will further tarnish Nigeria's image on the world stage. People are waiting for the court to make its decision, but there's a growing sense of frustration among many Nigerians. They feel that the government is not respecting the rule of law and that their voices are being ignored. The case has become a symbol of the wider struggles within Nigeria, struggles over political freedom, human rights, and the very future of the country. For Kanu's supporters, this is a fight for justice, a fight to prove that the government can't just imprison people without due process. The next few weeks will be critical. If the government goes ahead with its plans to imprison Kanu for life or execute him, it will have a profound impact on Nigeria. But if the international community and Nigerian citizens raise their voices, maybe we can still ensure that justice prevails. This is about more than one man. It's about ensuring that everyone has the right to a fair trial, that the government doesn't have unchecked power, and that people are free to express their opinions without fears of retribution. So, what do you think? Will Nigeria stand by the principles of justice, or will political power continue to override the rule of law? This case will have far-reaching consequences, not just for Nnamdi Kanu, but for the future of the Nigerian legal and political system. Stay tuned, and we'll keep following the story as it unfolds. Make sure you like and subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear what you think about this. Is this a fight for justice, or is it a political maneuver to silence dissent? Let's discuss in the comments, and don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notifications for more updates